Hi, everyone. Welcome back to BoltsNBytes. This week, we are going to do a very special DrupalCon preview episode because DrupalCon is next week. And we are going to have with us Director of Technical Marketing, Steve Persch. Hi, Steve.
Hello, here I
Yay.
am,
Hi.
popping up on the stream.
How are you?
I'm doing really well. Happy to be here, Taryn.
Yay. Except for that it's tax day, which I think is kind of like Friday the 13th, but maybe possibly worse.
Possibly. But by the time people are seeing this, either they've gotten their taxes in or they haven't. And good luck to us all.
Fingers crossed. Good luck on that, y'all. But no more talking about taxes. Let's talk about DrupalCon because it's been how many years, Steve?
It has been 3 years since an
Oh,
in-person DrupalCon North America, Seattle 2019. I was excited for 2020 in Minneapolis, and
oh,
there was not a DrupalCon in Minneapolis in 2020.
yeah. There was a lot going on that year.
Yeah.
A lot of staying indoors as well. So
Yes, that's what I remember.
yep, but let's talk about 2022 because it's gonna be in Portland. I have a question for y'all, Bolts and Bites viewing audience. Can somebody please explain to me? You can tweet to us at the hashtag Bolts and Bites. Why do people keep telling me to put a bird on things? If you do you know
I
that,
will
Steve?
I will I do know the answer, and
Okay.
I'll let our audience on YouTube jump in as
Oh,
well.
all right. I need to know the answer to this, but you know
Yeah,
what I need to know more about more than birds?
what's that?
Edge integrations. That's why we asked you to come to talk. So yes.
Well, I'm excited to be here to talk about edge integrations and Pantheon. So we go big at DrupalCon every year. It's been 3 years since we've had an in-person DrupalCon North America. We've got new stuff to talk about. One of the things we want to talk about in our booth demo is edge integrations. I figured it could be a good opportunity to come on Bolts and Bytes and get a few more minutes to talk about it, perhaps in greater depth. But I could start with some of what we're sharing at the booth at DrupalCon.
Cool. Yeah, please do.
So for DrupalCon, for pretty much everything we do, we start from the premise that websites have a job to do. So with Drupal, with the reference profile that comes with Drupal, let's see if I can get the slides to appear here. For Umami Food Magazine that comes with Drupal core, if there are a real web team working on fictional Umami Food Magazine, that cross collaborative team of developers, content people, designers, they would be asking themselves, what can we do to get more people clicking on our recipes, reading the great recipes that we have, becoming subscribers? Because if Umami were a real website, there's a good chance they'd be somewhat or perhaps entirely dependent on subscription revenue. So that team would be
Mm.
asking itself, how can we get more people clicking on these recipes? If they click on the recipes, that leads to them becoming subscribers more often. So that team might think to itself, we've got a large portion of our traffic coming from the United States.
Mhm.
That's an audience that might be likely to click on a burger recipe in that featured spot on the homepage. But perhaps the subset of traffic coming from Canada will be more likely to click on our recipe for vegan poutine.
Oh,
Yeah,
I do like
so that's
burgers and I like poutine. So, am I American or
uh,
Canadian? I don't know.
you can use a VPN, switch around to see what you get. That's been my own way
Yes.
of navigating this proof of concept site. Moving over through the magic of VPNs to Toronto, to Vancouver, seeing what I get. And in addition to splitting what content loads for different parts of the world, it might be appropriate to change what's happening, what's featured in different parts of the website based on what people have already viewed on the website. So for
Oh.
instance, lower down on the homepage, we've got a featured recipe for steak or some meat-based recipe. However, if any given visitor clicks on 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 articles, recipes that are tagged in the taxonomy term vegan, that
Mm.
might be enough of a signal that we should take away those featured recipes that are steak and put in featured recipes that are matching that taxonomy term. We can get vegan spicy sauce loading into that featured recipe slot lower down on the homepage.
That
So
makes a
the
lot
way
of oh, sorry.
Mhm.
I was
That's all
gonna
right. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that makes a lot of sense because if people are seeing more things that are offered from your service, like your magazine, that are aligned with what it is that they want, they're more likely to be subscribers than if you keep throwing vegan food at them and they are decidedly very not vegan or the opposite case. So great.
Right. So we want to make those kinds of capabilities reachable for the teams that are using Pantheon. Part of the background here is that these kinds of capabilities have been within the realm of the impossible for a lot of our customers for a long time. We put Fastly in front of Pantheon for all of our customers 5 years ago with our global CDN. And a couple of years ago, we added what we call the advanced global CDN. Basically, professional services staff members at Pantheon can tweak what's happening at Fastly. So if you want to do something like have people visiting the website from the United States, tell Fastly, hey, I'm in the United States. Fastly can then tell WordPress or Drupal, we've got a new visitor from the United States, but I, Fastly, don't have a cached copy of the homepage good for the United States. WordPress or Drupal produces a version of the homepage specific to that region, sends it back to Fastly. Fastly can hang on to that cached copy of the homepage for the United States, do the same for Canada and whatnot. That's been a pattern of use case that we've been able to support with that advanced global CDN product for a while. However, it's still relatively small numbers of customers who have been able to do this kind of stuff, relative to Pantheon's full base of customers. And we want to bring these kinds of capabilities just within reach for more and more customers. That's what we want to do across the board. That's what attracted me to Pantheon as a customer so many years ago. Like, I knew that every website that I worked on should have a dev, a test, and a live environment. But I didn't always have time to set that up.
Yeah.
And the kind of configuration that needs to be set up and fit together just so between the CMS and the CDN and JavaScript running in those browsers, it's very detailed, and not many teams have the capacity within themselves, just within the one team, to do it all. So by broadening that concept of team to think like, well, there, to some degree, we can think about the people at Pantheon as on our team. We can bring more of these capabilities within reach for a wider set of our customers, and that we think is very much in the spirit of the WordPress and Drupal open source communities. All open source communities, I think, get that kind of a benefit. Part of the pain point we're looking to relieve with these edge integrations specifically is the pain point that we've heard about. We've run into it ourselves on our own website. The status quo way of doing these kinds of approaches to personalization related use cases, where someone is visiting a website, they want some recipes, Chrome hits the primary website infrastructure. Ideally, you get a near instantaneous response, but even in that best case scenario, Chrome might see, oh, there's some JavaScript that calls out to some other service that might be in a different cloud provider in a different side of the country. And it's going to take 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 seconds to load in that geo-targeted or that personalized content. We think this is better off for everybody, especially that person visiting the website, if that tailored response comes through in that first response from the primary website infrastructure, rather than having too many parts of the response coming from too many different places.
I know I like to explore with recipes a lot, and so I'll be reading through, like, sometimes it's a recipe and sometimes it's an article, right? And I appreciate personalized content. Facebook actually had me categorized as a person that is easily susceptible to ads back when they used to give that information. Yeah, I was like, wait, what? And then I clicked on an ad for another pair of shoes. You know that I like shoes. So we had this whole discussion about shoes. But if I'm reading through the recipe, all of a sudden the page has to redraw and reflow because a different ad has come up, and it just changes the whole thing. It's a cruddy experience for me as a user. I know setting that up as a developer was a pain. So I think that this will help a lot of people across the board.
I think so. Like that reflowing that you're describing, it's bad for the person visiting the website, and it's an artifact of a bad experience for the people working on the website. Like, that's happening because the content editors, the designers, the developers, they're having to do their work in too many different places. One way I think about the problem space here is, how many tabs do you need open to do your job? Like, if you're a professional working on the internet, there's a good chance you have lots of Chrome tabs open. I don't think we're going to get that down to one. If you are a web professional out there who only has one tab in your browser in Firefox or Chrome open, tell me how you do it. I've got a lot, but it shouldn't be that you need to log into Drupal and some completely different system when you're thinking about the content that is served on our homepage. Like, it shouldn't require quite so many tabs to change the content on the homepage, or for developers to change a template. Ideally, there's only one deployment target. There's not like the real website and then the shadow CMS that personalizes things and has similar CSS selectors, but maybe different ones, because entropy has made things difficult to manage and difficult to keep in sync.
Definitely. The guilty look on my face earlier is because I tried to recently close out a bunch of tabs on my phone, and my phone informed me that the little smiley face was because I had 790 tabs open. So
That is a lot of tabs.
that's a lot of tabs. I kept wondering why my phone was going so slow. Maybe that's why I got all those recipe redraws. I don't know.
Maybe. I try to keep it below 100 max, but ideally like 20, but it can be a challenge.
You're better than me.
I don't know about that. I just get nervous about too many tabs open. So
I'm just like,
with
give me more tab, give me more ads, all of the things. Choose.
more. You know, that's a normal thing. And with edge integrations, we're trying to resolve this tension between the architectural choices that any team would make if their top priority is customizing the website per geography, per segment, per interest. It's natural to think, how can we make this website more successful? Let's show featured articles based on what people have clicked before. That's at least a worthwhile question for anyone to ask. How you answer it is going to change depending on the needs of the website, the needs of the team. But for so many teams, the pressure to make the website different for every visitor leads you to a very different place than if you're trying to make the website the same for every visitor. Like the choices that you would make architecturally to pursue stability, you could just have a static site on a CDN, the same for everybody and the same over time, because it's going to take at least minutes, if not more, to change just a purely static site on a CDN. So how do we thread that needle? That's that's the question we're asking ourselves at Pantheon. That's the question we want to discuss at DrupalCon. We've released this Edge integrations software development kit. So where we're at here is that we've got this pilot level SDK for both Drupal and WordPress. Again, we're taking the ideas that we've proven out with a small number of customers through AGCDN, and we're asking ourselves, how can we spread this out into a way that will work for more and more teams? Can we take this idea of doing geo-targeting or the idea of interest tracking? The use case I'm most interested in is one that is not in the SDK yet anyway. A/B testing, I think, is something that is nearly identical at the level of the technology. Like, the use case is very different. The experience for the content editors and anyone running the test is very different. The specific technological shift or the thing that's happening between the CMS and the CDN is pretty much the same in either of those cases. The communication between Fastly and Drupal or WordPress for something like Fastly randomly assigning any given visitor to group A or group B, and then Drupal and WordPress customizing responses accordingly. That's why we need more and more conversations, especially with our agency partners who many of whom have already gotten access to playgrounds with this pilot SDK.
Will other agencies be able to come up and ask y'all questions and give you feedback during DrupalCon?
I mean, that's what I like about DrupalCon, the hallway track. I came from the agency world myself. After a few years as a freelancer, I realized this is so much better with a team. So yes, of course we want to talk with especially those agencies who show up in force at DrupalCon. We want to talk with you about these ideas. We want to get your feedback on the way we've implemented edge integrations, both in WordPress and Drupal. For the proof of concept site where the screenshots came from, we were working at the level of the Drupal core block system. We want opinions, though, on what are the right layers. Paragraphs module is still very popular in the Drupal community. What's happening in core around layout controls also looks promising. This could work just at the level of Twig templates. I don't know that it should. It's not. We don't see it as our role to just check off every conceivable permutation. That's less helpful than providing a more opinionated answer that can only come from discussion and experience that will come through those agency partners.
Very cool. I know, like, working at a Drupal agency myself, one of the things that I enjoyed about working on Pantheon is that so much was already set up for us when you come in as a developer, right? Pantheon has opinions about dev test live. We have opinions about how you set up your CDN. And so, should we be solving all the world's problems as Pantheon? That's debatable. But the fact that we go and we solve like 80% of what the problem is, right? That takes away so much cognitive load for developers and allows them to focus on the specialized problems and challenges that that they are going to have in their day-to-day jobs. Like, I
Mhm.
don't think that Pantheon would be the person to be like, hey, for your small nonprofit that is supposed to give toys to children in Alabama specifically, here's what you should do. Like, I don't think
Mhm.
that's profitable for us or for them or anyone. So
Yeah, I think our role can, or part of our role anyway, is in refining down the experiences that come from these ecosystems and highlighting the parts that are working well and making them easier and easier to adopt and reuse.
So I have a question. If someone cannot make it to DrupalCon, or if they are very excited right now from having seen this demo and they want to talk to you before DrupalCon, can they get in touch with you?
Yes, they can find me in the Edge integrations channel in our community Slack. I mean, lots of channels in our community Slack. Our product owner Scott is in there as well. So that'll be a good place for ongoing discussion around these software development kits. They're also public GitHub repos. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before we start getting pull requests or issues. I want to talk about like the Drupal dependency injection container. There are things we could tweak about the way Edge integrations works at that level, and those are the kinds of conversations that are best had as more and more people get their hands on it.
Awesome. We are a very community-centered company, so developers can rest assured that if they come to us with a problem or an issue or a suggestion, they will be heard. Steve, thank you so much for joining us today and showing us this, and I am super amped for DrupalCon. See you then.
See you, Terrence.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this episode of BoltsNBytes. We are so excited to see you at DrupalCon. We have so many cool things that are going to be happening. We are having a party that is happening. Make sure to come and see us at the Pantheon booth. I forgot to talk about this. There are shirts. Again, Pantheon shirts. Everyone loves Pantheon shirts. Come and get your Pantheon shirt, and you'll get to watch the full demo at DrupalCon. We'll see you then, and we can meet. Oh, I haven't seen people in so long. Hopefully, I'll see y'all soon. Bye.